Okay, guys, so today we're going to be adding an icon to the button that we made the last time. In Revit, you have these very interesting and colorful icons that let you know which command you're clicking on just before you use them, and that's what we are creating today. You'd notice that there are two kinds. There is this one, which is larger, and there is the smaller one. What we want to do today is create one of the larger ones, and we will do that by accessing the large image property of the push button class. So back in Visual Studio, the first thing we need to do is to add a reference called presentation core to our code. So when you right click on references, click on add reference and navigate to presentation core. This is the namespace that has all the imaging tools we want to access from Windows for today's video. So click on it, press OK, and it should be added to your code under references. Great. So now we want to access the large image property of the push button class. The dot notation in this case is how we access properties. And once I say .l, I see the options, and the one I want is large image. So I'm going ahead to click on that one. To create a large image, we want to access the bitmap class from the presentation core reference that we just added. So we're going to initiate it for the first time because it is a new bitmap image in our code. So new bitmap, and you can see all the different options, but what we want today is a bitmap image. As soon as I start to complete the code by pressing a bracket, I see the options for creating a new bitmap image for Visual Studio. This tells me what I should do, and this is helpful when you're a new programmer. Visual Studio will give you cues as to what is required. So there are three ways to create a bitmap image, but in this case, I'm going for the URI source, and I'm going to be initiating a new URI inside the code. Because this is also a class of its own, we need to also complete it with brackets at the end. And as soon as I start typing, I'm also seeing options for making URI. It's asking me for a string. Now, for those of you wondering why it's URI and not URL, in the code we're writing today, the URI is known as a uniform resource identifier, and it's how you navigate to the path where you're trying to create your bitmap image. So since it's asking for a string, similar to the assembly we created here, we're going to create a new string called URI. And we're just going to copy this code because the image we're going to be using as our icon will be downloaded to this folder. Obviously, it's not going to be called our first Revit plugin.dll. So let's go ahead and find this image so we can replace this with the name of our image. Going back to the web, freepik.com is a website that I like to use for searching for things like this. So I'm going to filter for icons and I'm going to search for Hello World. And I'm going to pick literally any of these icons. I like this one, so I'm going to download it as a PNG to my computer. If you're going to use Freepik for commercial purposes, please pay for the images or ensure that you acknowledge the creators. It's just for demonstration, so there will be no attribution, but please know that this icon was created by Darius Dan. From wherever you've downloaded the file, go ahead and paste it in the same location as our compiled DLL file. There we go. One last thing we need to fix is the name because we want it to be referencing a clean name, and also the size. For a large image, we want the size to be 32 by 32 pixels. So we'll open with Photoshop, but you can use any other tool you have like Paint or any other image editing software. The first thing we can see in Photoshop is that our image has a lot of space around it. So making sure that the crop tool is ratio 1:1 because we want it to be 32 by 32. I'm going to clip off all that extra space. Awesome. Next thing we want to do is change the size. So we go to image, image size, And instead of 404 by 404, we want it to be 32 by 32. Now, one other thing I want you to notice is the resolution. I've noticed when your image resolution is less than 72 pixels per inch, it doesn't show up in Revit. So please make sure that the resolution of your image is at least above 72. Perfect. Now that we've resized our image, let's save it with something more sensible as the name. In this case, I'm just going to call it hello-world without the numbers and save. Back in our code, we now know the path and we know that our image is simply hello-world.png. So we're going to update the path so it's referencing the right image. Perfect. The only thing remaining is we need to pass our new string of URI into our code. So we are launching a new bitmap image with a new URI to create the image and passing that into the large image property of the push button, as this is the property of that class that lets you create the image. Finally, we can see that there are no other errors in our code. We already have what we need to create our icon. So let's click on play to debug. We will load once and open our sample project as usual. Great, now that we're in Revit, let's go to the BIM Coders tab. And there it is. There's our nice little icon with our first button and our first panel. Leave me a comment with your own icon if you're done creating it, or let me know if you had any issues. Sometimes it's an issue of the size. It has to be 32 by 32 pixels, or it's an issue of resolution where the resolution of the image is too small. Keep trying with different images and you should be able to replicate this process with the code that we've just gone through. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are enjoying these coding series and these coding videos. If you are, it really does help me a lot if you subscribe or like or comment, because YouTube will tell other people that my videos are worth watching. Thank you for everything. Thank you for sticking with me. I'll see you in the next one where we'll be learning how to select and filter through elements in Revit using the API.